Hello and welcome. My name is Carl DePrato, and this is Cybersecurity with Carl. And so I was reading an article today. Didn't really have anything directly to do with cybersecurity, but it was, "Is it time to get rid of the IT department?" by Joe Peppard. It was written in the Wall Street Journal. I'll leave a link for the article down below. And what he says is the traditional IT departments have become outdated for the business needs, and they prevent companies from becoming agile and customer focused and taking advantage of different technologies to transform their businesses. IT departments were built in a different era, and I understand that IT departments were unintentionally set up for failure because it was looked at, there was a core business and then there was technology, and they were separated. And so that really made the IT department traditionally become more of a backroom operation. And so it created an us versus them mentality. But technology is vital, and I agree with this to job success of employees. It's a key driver of the customer experience that those businesses can deliver and developing good business models. And the traditional IT department was considered more of a partnership engagement. Even though it might be in-house, it was treated as a cost rather than a value. And because of that, success has always been measured by the money spent, the systems that didn't break, or the projects that were delivered on time or on budget. But unfortunately, success doesn't always equal or correlate to delivering technology on time or on budget. The value that a technology adds to a firm or a corporation really should be determined by how it is used and the value that's created by that use rather than how much it's cost. Cost still is a factor, but it shouldn't be the primary factor. And traditional models also assume that different corporate units will be able to specify exactly what they need from an IT department months ahead of time. Let's take a marketing department, for example. With all the different technologies, social media, video, different ways that they can reach their clients, and that constantly changing just by the rules that Google implies or Facebook or anybody else or all these outside external forces. How can they plan out 18 months in advance of their needs? Little less, even week to week, it's challenging. It's a constant moving target. And the traditional, models assume that they would be able to, that a department would be able to say exactly what they need from an IT department months and years ahead of time. And also consider the individuals who tend to work at IT departments. Most of them aren't in core operations of the business of manufacturing, insurance, or banking for that love of that particular operation. They're doing it really because they're in love with the technology. They're really enthusiastic about it. But the traditional IT, it doesn't mean that they couldn't become more enthusiastic about the value of manufacturing, insurance, or whatever, but because they're kept at a separate arm's length, they're not getting introduced to the true business processes to understand how their technology is being used or how they could be using it to leverage and help grow the businesses. Fortunately, this is the traditional silo mentality that's coming into effect. But there are companies that are pioneering new territories, and they are really breaking this mold. Instead of managing, their employees, they're focusing more on designing their businesses. They still need specialists. It doesn't mean that you don't still need to have people who know how to bring applications to the cloud or to manage endpoints or things like that. But there are a lot of tools now that are available, like low code or no code, which really allow businesses to create all sorts of applications from mobile apps where you don't need to have a programmer there, web portals and so forth to meet their clients' needs. And because a lot of the hardware, the heavy equipment is moving to the cloud, you really don't technically need to have a full-time sysadmin in a business, to get the job done. It doesn't mean that you don't need guardrails. And decentralizing technology demands some centralization as well. You still need to have security protocols. You still need to decide what type of programming languages to be on and what type of architecture of how you're going to deliver that. But once you've gotten that framework in place, you really, the employees can focus on, they're free to focus on anything they need to do the job, to get the job done, as long as they fall within the framework that you've developed. He says something I realize, which is why change is so hard. Nothing's going to be simple. Companies must figure out how to manage and deploy IT resources, in a new basically in a new decentralized world where different groups needs can change from month to month. And you've also got the old guard. There's going to be numerous entrenched interests that would like to maintain the status quo. Senior executives who will have to recognize that they're frequently part of the problem and that many people in the digital world have no idea what they don't know. But in the end, business requires information technology, and it needs to be integral to the business, not in a separate department. And so anyway, that was my thoughts. I agree wholeheartedly with this article. I think it's really where the future is heading. If you're in a business that likes to move towards the future of this and you need some help, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much. You have a great day.